Good morning and welcome to the Small Business Spotlight. I am your host, Blake McCarrin, along with Isan Chaudhry from Firestorm Cyber, where technology is solved. Love that tagline. So tell us about you and about your company.
Well, thanks for having me. We're an information security company, and we're based out of Bogart, Georgia, and we primarily focus on cybersecurity and infrastructure. We provide managed services to companies ranging from small business to large enterprises. And at the end of the day, our mission is to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and the availability of our customers' data. So we focus on that. Computers can be replaced easily. Data can't.
That's a good way to look at it because our whole life center. I mean, I look at my phone. My life is in my phone. My office life is in my computer in my office. So, we tend to just kind of think, oh, as long as I have this, I'm good. But, phones break, but the information inside is what we need to focus on as well as the PC.
Absolutely, and that's our primary focus. There's so many threats out there. We live in an age where internet has essentially become a big crime scene. And we focus on that. Our professionals on the team, we are certified ethical hackers, and we're also computer hacking forensic specialists, investigators.
Wow.
There are such career lines. And so we're able to look at the threat vectors, the problems that can cause businesses to have issues from both sides of the fence. So we look at it from the edge to the heart of the network. We understand the hacking mentality, and we also understand how to forensically investigate those types of hacks. So we have the benefit of being able to look at it from both sides of the fence.
So since this show focuses on the small business owner, let's look at websites because every large or small business has a website. But what are the vulnerabilities that a business needs to be aware of as far as someone hacking into their website?
The biggest thing with websites today is to get a certificate. And that's just the first step. There are a lot of platforms out there such as WordPress, Drupal, many other platforms. GoDaddy does some hosting, Rackspace, just to name a few. The problem with websites is if they're not constantly maintained, if they're not securely developed, then there can be vulnerabilities based on the platform that they're built on. And hackers know that. On a regular basis, almost weekly, the federal government issues what's called CVEs. And these are alerts to discovered vulnerabilities. And publishers and maintainers of websites, webmasters, as they're called, are essentially responsible for keeping up to date on those. There's a myriad of examples globally where websites were compromised because things weren't patched. Systems were compromised because things weren't patched. You may think that's not a big deal. However, with a website, once it's compromised, it can be used to spread malware. Hackers can take over a website, take control of the services on the website itself, and then use that as a platform to globally distribute all types of ransomware, any form of Trojans and other threats, botnets, so on and so forth.
Okay, I'm getting a little scared. It is definitely a new day and age when you think about cyber threats. It used to be when TV shows had it, you thought, oh, that's so far-fetched, it can never happen. But then you look at what happened even with the city of Atlanta, someone hacking into their site. And so as a small business owner, it is definitely something that people need to be made aware of, and they need your services. So what sets you specifically apart from, say, Joe Blow's cybersecurity?
We have access to global threat intelligence. We have partners that range from the federal government. We're able to access threat intelligence feeds from government sources, as well as neural networks that are globally, that have a global footprint. So on a daily basis, on a real-time basis, we're able to look at those feeds and look at the threats and the intrusions and things like that that happen globally. And we can proactively react to those ahead of them becoming a potential threat for our customers, and then prevent those things from becoming long-term issues, compromises, protecting customers' data. That's ultimately what we do. And our system, we can do everything from covering the firewall all the way back to the end user. The weakest link in cybersecurity is the human factor. You can have the most expensive, best equipment, best technology placed in your infrastructure, But all it takes is for Bob to click on a link that then begins a compromise that sometimes can be devastating. Just like the city of Atlanta, they were hit by ransomware. Mecklenburg County in Charlotte, and not too long ago, Port of San Diego, and the ports in Barcelona, Spain. Before that, there was a very large shipping company in Europe that was hit. Over thousands of their computers were taken offline due to ransomware. And kudos to them, they didn't pay the ransom, and they recovered every single computer and every bit of data that they had.
Wow, that's awesome. So there has to be a reason that you're, I guess, passionate is the right word for this. How did you get into this field?
My entire team, myself included, this is all we've ever done. We're all from the University of Georgia. Me a long time ago, rest of the team, similar experiences. But this is we started our careers in information technology, information security, and cybersecurity. I have 27 years in IT and security myself. My team members have a decade or more. And we're passionate because cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility. It's not just something you can leave to the government or companies. Everyone has to be fully engaged. And companies like us, we take that knowledge and we take that experience and we're able to leverage that for our customers. And threats to privacy, personal information, and data drives us to do what we do. We look at it as the four shuns. So prevention, protection, and education are a lot cheaper and a lot easier to tackle than have to deal with the remediation after a compromise has been made. And that's the approach we take whenever we engage a customer or customer's infrastructure or any of their data, for example. We prefer to come in and set the right technology, right size for the company and the business that they're in. And education, we're very strong advocates for cybersecurity awareness. And so we push that onto the client and make sure that everything we've done is leading edge, tip of the spear, so to speak, and so that they don't have to deal with the remediation and the after effects of that.
So let's talk about one of the most basic things. It was such a nuisance when I started off in corporate America. When you get up from your desk, lock your computer.
Absolutely. That should be everyone's practice, whether it's at home or in your business or workplace. Never leave your computer unattended. It can be unexpected consequences. There's things in this space such as shoulder surfing, piggybacking, and things like that, where someone you don't know could be watching what you're doing, typing in your password. Or if you walk away from your desk and you have access to sensitive information, financial data, or your payroll system, anything like that. And disgruntled employees, insider threats are one of the biggest threats to any company. And so always a best practice to lock your computer. And it really takes just 3 clicks, Control-Alt-Delete, or Control-Alt-Enter, and you're good to go. Okay,
so the next thing is passwords. Most companies require you to change them at least every 90 days. At home, I'm a little lazy about that. Or if I do, I'll just deviate it, 1 digit or 1 special character. Mm-hmm. Can we all get on the same page?
Sure.
Can you start some kind of a movement so that everyone's password can only be 8 digits? You can use all the same special characters, because the number of special characters and passwords and everything in my head right now for all different aspects of my life, it is mind-blowing what we have to keep up with these days, just for the peace of mind, I guess. And even with that, you're still not completely safe.
That's correct. Passwords, to speak on passwords, many years ago, when the individual who came up with the whole concepts of password and suggested adding special characters and numbers, what we're seeing today is a passphrase is far, far harder to hack and compromise than your standard password. Your typical person will pick a password generally associated with a family member, pet, something that they're familiar with, or their kids' names, things like that, and they'll tack on some numbers. 8-character password that has a number in it and a sign doesn't take very long to compromise. We can take rainbow hashes, and once those passwords are available, then we can run what's called hashing against it to try to compromise the password. However, passphrase is much more complex and much more difficult to compromise. If you take a sequence of 4 unassociated words like cat, car, river, stream, building, and you put those 4 or 5 words together to compromise that sequence of words without any numbers, in a hash would take hundreds of years, as opposed to just a 8 to 10 character password with alphanumeric password. 10 hours, 12 hours a day, maybe, to compromise something like that. But when you move towards a passphrase, it's much more difficult. So unfortunately, a lot of companies, banks included, financial establishments, still adhere to the concept of your traditional passwords. They'll require an 8 to 10 character or 20 character password, and they insist on a number and a special sign of some sort. At the end of the day, if that database containing those credentials is compromised, then those passwords can be hashed and discovered.
If a company was interested in having you come speak to them and just enlighten them as much as you've already enlightened us, what do you do?
We offer cybersecurity awareness lunch and learns, and we invite people in businesses to come and have lunch on us, and we spent an hour discussing cybersecurity awareness, things to do, what to look out for, the different types of ways that they could get compromised, and what to do to make sure they don't. And we're happy to come in and spend an hour with your company. For us, the education part is critical. A educated and smart user is way better protection. That's your weak link is the human factor in cybersecurity. If we can protect that, if we can educate the user, then they effectively do great things for not only the company, but for national security as well, because we're all part of critical infrastructure.
I'm sure there are a lot of business owners out there that would love to get in touch with you, Hassan. Tell us how to get in touch with you so that we can all feel a little more secure.
Sure. So Firestorm Cyber, our website is firestormcyber.com. Our operations center is located in Bogart, Georgia. And our support number is 706-410-2966. Or you can email us at support@firestormcyber.com. Our website, again, is firestormcyber.com. We are on LinkedIn. We also have videos that we've posted on YouTube. And we have a Facebook presence as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Hassan Chaudhry from Firestorm Cyber. We thank you for coming and sharing this important information with us, and hopefully some businesses will reach out to you so they can be more secure.
Thank you for having me.